All right, and we're live. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is my friend Nick Perry, a monster wholesaler based out of Austin, Texas. Some quick housekeeping stuff. If you guys are looking for cold calls, go to calmdistance.com. We got the best in the industry. And I want to give Nick a quick shout out because I think I met you at Raph's event because of Charles, right? And Charles is a really good friend of mine. And you're so big, right? And I remember me telling you about my story. And you made me feel like I was like the biggest person on the planet. And not very many people are like that, right? And it just shows like the quality of a human you are. You're like, oh, bro, you're awesome, blah, blah, blah. And I knew how big your company was, and you still made me look legit, felt legit. And that's just something to say about you, right?
Yeah, man. Well, real recognizes real, right? So, I've been doing this for a long time, and I know I've been doing it longer than you, so I can tell when somebody's got the right mindset and characteristics to be successful in this business. Yeah, regardless of how far they are in their journey, like you're gonna blow up. You've already blown up. You're killing it. So yeah, I could recognize that in you like early on.
Awesome, man. Thank you. What's going on, Mike? So let's start off, bro. I love because you told me about your dream when I talked to you about what you want your company to look like with a massive sales floor. So let's talk about what you did before real estate and how that played into what you've wanted to turn your company into.
Yeah. So, a little bit about me. I basically dropped out in the 10th grade, and I never finished high school. I actually finished it online.
I didn't know that.
A way to finish and get my diploma online. But the reason I couldn't stand going to school at all. I couldn't just sit there and listen to some teacher all day. I wanted to go out and get some money. So I remember, in high school, I got promoted to be a store manager of a cell phone store. And I got a pretty nice pay raise. I was making $18 an hour. And I was like, that's the end of my schooling career right there. I stopped going to school and started working full time. And then after high school, I went into, when I was 18, I went to learn how to be a personal trainer. And that was my first real career. Was personal training. So, basically sales my entire career. I was a personal trainer for 5 years. And then one of my clients owned a big franchise of frozen yogurt stores and wanted a sales guy to come in and sell frozen yogurt franchises. So I moved into the real sales realm, talking to actual business owners and selling franchises. And that was my real introduction into sales in the business world. And the frozen yogurt industry died out in 2014. So took the $7 grand that I had saved in my bank account and put everything in the back of my beater, Mazda 3, and drove down to Austin, Texas without knowing anybody or having any connections, no job. I just wanted to, get a fresh start. I'd been living in Northern Virginia my entire life, and there wasn't really anything there for me. So I came down to Texas, and as a fresh start, I had to really do some soul searching on how I wanted the rest of my life to go. And I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, own my own business. So dove deep into, YouTube University on wholesaling, and, kind of the rest is history from there.
So when were you working at Indeed beforehand, bro?
Yeah. So when I came down to Austin, I, put myself through YouTube University, was taking massive action in the wholesaling business, but you know how quick $7 grand goes in the real world. I had to get a job at the same time. And, nowhere wanted to hire me. I couldn't get even Postmates. I came down here and Postmates was like, nah, man, but we don't think you're good enough to deliver any sandwiches. You can get the hell out of here. I was like, it was a rough start for me when I first got down to Austin. And I met some girl that passed on an interview for Indeed, and she hooked me up with the recruiter. I got an interview at Indeed, and by the grace of God, I got the job. I had to tell him I went to college. I never went to college because it was either I get this job or I'm sleeping in my car and getting evicted. So I got the job at Indeed, and I basically went from almost getting evicted to going, Top Gun, President's Club at Indeed right out of the gate, making $225,000 a year. And it's inside sales, Wolf of Wall Street style, 60 calls a day, 2 hours, high quotas, a lot of pressure. And that's really where I developed a good part of my sales acumen from, was work.
Did we lose you?
No, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. So that's where you're majority of because that's what your company is, right? It's a sales floor, high level. get the quotas in, and then a lot of inbound leads, correct? Like you guys
That's
don't
all
even
it is.
do.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at it, especially if you're doing this remotely, all wholesaling is inside sales. The houses are just the gadget, right?
Yep.
If I had to go to selling insurance tomorrow, I could switch out the scripts and the leads and keep it moving. So,
does Brandon run your sales floor? Like do you have a sales floor guy? Like what does that look like?
yeah. So, all my guys, I'll show you my office setup. All my guys are in training right now. Brandon's actually doing a training with them in the other room, but I'll show you what my office looks like. So this is my acquisitions sales floor right here. So you can see we got cubicles. This is where our junior acquisitions sit. And then over here, this is our senior acquisitions over on this part. And then we got, we try to keep it fun. We do, trainings here sometimes. We got a little couch area, break room, coffee, water, beer, all that stuff. And then this is my dispositions department in here. So they're all in the conference room right now, but the dispo all sitting here. And that's pretty much what it is. So you can see it's laid out very similar to like a inside sales organization.
I love that. And so how do you have your junior acquisition people set up, right? Like when do they finally move up to that spot? And what's your turnover like in that?
I mean, our guys stay pretty long because they have the career trajectory to become a senior acquisitions. And so most people come in as follow-up specialists, and their sole goal is basically going through new leads and our existing leads and qualifying them with the goal of passing them to senior acquisitions. Yep. So that when we implemented that changed the game for us, because what we noticed was a lot of the senior acquisitions time is spent sifting through leads and looking at junk and just trying to get people on the phones.
Yep.
So once we took that off their plate, it leveraged a ton of time. It was huge leverage in the business.
Were you seeing a ton of burnout with your senior people having to sift through all that fucking nonsense, right? That's what I feel like. That's why we have leads managers. It's same concept.
Yeah.
To where like you want them to be on the phone selling. You don't want them to be on the phone just sifting and then wasting their energy. And then you have that solid 2 hours and that's just high energy or selling.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, that's what you hire them to do is basically any time that they're not talking to a qualified, motivated seller is wasted time, in my opinion. And so I want to take as much of that off. I want to get as much of that out of their schedule as possible. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. If in an ideal world, they're just talking to qualified, motivated sellers 8 hours a day. Obviously, that's not, we don't live in a perfect world, but that's the goal.
And have you gotten these people all to be commission only? Like, what does that look like? Because I know it's hard, bro. Real estate's a hard one to do commission only.
Yeah, we've done commission only in the past. In my opinion, you got to pay people a livable wage and then commission on top of that. So everybody besides Brandon and I have salary plus commission. Brandon and I are commission only. So they all have, a base and then their commission on top of that. So it's a lower base because, we don't want to give somebody a cushy base. We want them to, have just enough base to pay their rent and get to, gas to get to work and back basically. And then the rest is eat what you kill.
Exactly. I think the hard part is with real estate, dude. Like, so especially you guys, do you have a 50% fallout rate with contracts?
It's a little higher than that now because we've got so good at evaluating properties all over the United States. When we first started doing what we're doing, virtual wholesaling nationwide, it was like we were only closing like 1 in 5 because we didn't have our comping dialed in. We didn't have our processes dialed in to make sure that the whole transaction goes smoothly. And through just getting punched in the mouth every single day, we really just dialed it into where it is now. To where the only real reasons we'll have fallout is if there's a lien on title or there's a seller backs out, something like that. So we're probably 3.5 to 4 out of 5 contracts that's dope that we write up. Yeah, we'll close.
That's a big step for you too, because I remember you telling me about like how much fallout there was.
Right. Yeah. No.
Just with nonsense.
You just try to get better every single day, and that compounds over time. So we do a lot of trainings on making accurate offers, and trainings with our dispo to make sure that we're not having unnecessary issues come up.
And your dudes are like, no one in your company cold calls, right?
No, we don't do any telecommunications right now, just because everything's inbound PPC leads. We got so many of them that I can't justify turning any telecommunications on right now.
I mean, there's something to be said. Someone goes online and clicks an ad on the internet saying, sell my house fast, right? Like that person actually is motivated and we're going to move forward with you a lot faster. Your timeline isn't as small. Well, it's large, right? Like your timeline's here compared to a cold call lead. You're 90 days at least on average.
Right. We're like 3 days. Right. And it takes us a lot less leads to get a contract as well. So, my guys are spoiled now to where I'm sure your team would, if you gave my guys and your guys the same number of cold calling leads, your guys would smoke mine, because my guys are spoiled with all the online leads.
Right. Just good quality leads all the time, which is nice. But there's something to be said for how you've dialed in your PPC. Like, you want to talk about that? At a point in time, bro, you told me to do it myself. Like, only you know really how to do it at a point.
Yeah, I've outsourced I started doing PPC pretty much right when I got into this business in 2014. And, everybody's like, find a professional, find somebody that's better than you. And every time I've outsourced it to an agency, it's always been a subpar performance or a complete disaster. And I've had to bring it back in-house and just do it myself. It's one of those things that, I just got good at in the business out of necessity, managing PPC campaigns.
That is so dope. And you guys don't do any other type of marketing, do you?
No, not right now. I've done pretty much every other kind of marketing out there, but I can't beat the returns that I get on PPC.
I truly think that, right? It's a bigger nut to crack, but once you get them all rolling in, like, it is fantastic.
Exactly. So it's worth it to me. I mean, I'll probably continue to do that until the wheels fall off. I don't want to go back to telecommunications if I don't have to be honest with you.
And so how do you keep your sales guys here, right? Because the biggest thing about sales organizations, bro, is the fucking turnover. So how are you keeping your culture so strong? How are you keeping your sales guys internally? And then, like, because there's something to be said, right, to just bring someone up through the company as to losing the time and money of retraining a new junior acquisitions all the time.
Yeah. First of all, they're all making money, right? Nobody's going to stay with you if they ain't making any money. Second of all, we pour into them. And, my whole goal is, I know a lot of leaders, they kind of discourage that entrepreneurial mentality, right? I actually encourage it. I'm the opposite. So when somebody comes into the organization, we really, basically my job is to help them get to their personal and professional goals. So if their, professional goals are to, own a, real estate portfolio, or, buy a e-commerce store, or whatever it is, it's my job to help lift them and get them closer to their goals. Yeah, I know a lot of entrepreneurs are nervous, like, well, what if my guys leave? Look, man, if they're making money, if they're making good active income in your company, and then they're building passive income on the side, you got a loyal employee. Especially if you're open and talk about it with them and help them achieve that goal, then you've got everybody in the same boat rowing in the same direction. So
that is amazing, bro.
I just want to see my guys win. Yeah, no,
exactly.
my thing is, like, I genuinely want to see my guys come up, and I want to see them win. And I think they can feel that.
What books did you read to, like, develop your leadership skills? Because I feel like you have one of the biggest organizations, right? And having a sales organization, having to have the high energy all the time is a talent in and of itself.
Yeah, I mean, we do, in terms of, like, leadership books that I've read. First of all, I don't really read books. I can't stand reading books. I watch a shitload of YouTube videos, and I'm constantly taking courses. I'm a junkie for learning new material. So I'm constantly always learning, through audiobooks, through videos. Those are the two ways that I'm learning, and I'm training myself in my mind every single day. So the sharper that I can be, the better I could be for my team, right?
Mhm.
So one thing that we always do is we do multiple trainings every single week. So we do not only like practical trainings, learning how to comp ARVs, how to deal with different situations in the business, but we do mindset trainings every single week where we'll sit down and I'll put up like a YouTube video like Tom Bilyeu top 10 rules for success, or Arnold Schwarzenegger top 10 rules for success, and everybody has to come to that training with a pad and paper, and you need to write all the takeaways from that video, and then we discuss it as a group. And that's huge. That's more impactful than sitting there telling them, this is how we're going to do sub 2, and this is how you evaluate sub 2, or this is how you calculate this ARV, or deal with this objection. You'll get more out of training towards mindset than you will, practical stuff in the business. So we do that, and then bi-weekly, each one of my guys have one-on-ones where they sit down with Brandon or sometimes myself, and we go over kind of where they're at, not just in the business. We'll sit there and tell them where their numbers are for the month, and we'll just kind of peel it back. All right, so where are you trying to go this quarter? What are you trying to make outside of the quota? Where your what's on the horizon for you personally, professionally? And a lot of times it's just about like keeping them accountable to their goals, and then just giving them good advice to sometimes I'm giving workout advice, sometimes I'm giving baby mama drama advice, so you just have to be invested and really just want to help your people, just be a servant to them.
Man, I mean, and that there's something to be said about giving advice on everything else, because you'll see a dip if someone's having issues at home, right? And you'll see a dip like for all those other things. And if you can help them get past that, then all they're going to do is do better, and they're going to love you because you helped them get through that. And then there's just more company loyalty.
Exactly. So that's my whole thing, man, is I just, I really care about our guys, and seeing them be successful personally, professionally. Like, I want them to have everything that they ever wanted, just the same way I want to, have a great life and be successful. So that's one of like our, core values. And I think that's what leads to, that's the crux of it on what leads to a good culture, in my opinion.
Hell yeah. Do you care sharing what you are cost per lead for PPC?
We're around like, $50, $55.
And that's the same as like cold calling leads are like 30, maybe cheaper, but like it's not that much more. And what people don't understand nationally, like across the board, PPC is about the same as cold calling. You just have to be able to front more, is what I've seen.
And then my lead to contract is going to be much less. And what people don't understand with PPC versus cold calling, I know you love cold calling.
PPC is legit. We do it.
Yeah. If my guys have to go through 45, 50 leads to get a deal, and you're doing PPC, and your guys only have to go through 10 or 15 leads to get a deal,
right,
you're going to smoke me. Right. So nobody looks at return on time. Obviously, cost per lead and return on ad spend is good, but return on time. I'm just trying to, get to the promised land as fast as possible.
I mean, you're right, bro. I mean, because I think about it like, I mean, you have stools, but let's say you do have a lead come in, you talk to them for 2 days, like they have to talk to their aunt, blah, blah, blah. It's not like a same day on the phone close, but then it closed and you get your money in 15 days as opposed to 90 days out. Like the biggest thing is like, how fast can you get those accounts receivable in to keep that business running and growing faster? So.
Yeah, and the cash conversion cycle in the wholesaling business is not great. It's not like somebody just swipes a credit card. You know what I'm saying? It's, from the time that you spend money to the time you get it back in, like the industry average is like 120 days.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're always looking, what's our cash? How can we lower our cash conversion cycle to get it back in like, 21 days?
Exactly. And so how is that like what you are right now? It's 21 days.
It's longer than that. It's like 27 or 29 days last time I checked.
That's still amazing though for wholesale.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's better than 4 months, you know.
Way better than 4 months.
Yeah.
No one ever run a business like you. And then Erin says she can't read either. She loves podcasts. Dan Calderon says he can't read either.
Yeah. Feel that.
So now we're talking about that. Where did you find Brandon? And for people who don't know, Brandon's his CEO, and he does an amazing job, man. And he's a great guy.
Yeah. So when I was working at Indeed has a internship program. It's very difficult to get an internship at Indeed. You know, thousands of people apply, and only like 25 get selected. Anyways, he got selected into that intern program, and because I was a senior account manager at Indeed, I was assigned to intern, and Brandon was my intern. He was, 20, 21 years old, and I basically took him up under my wing, and I was doing Indeed sales, but me, like I'm always, I was trying to get out of the business, so I, half my tabs were for Indeed, and then half my other tabs on my browsers were for real estate, and I was talking to motivated sellers, talking to my VAs at the time, and closing deals, and he was like, the hell is this guy doing? Right. And so I was like, yeah, I'm doing this wholesale thing. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, you know what, dude, take this course and like, whatever. Anyway, he takes the course and he's like, yo, can you help me get this campaign going, this marketing campaign? I was like, yeah, sure. Do this postcard, blah, blah, blah. He did it, got his first deal. And I was like, good for you, whatever. I was wheeling and dealing, doing my own. He gets the job at Indeed full time and takes it. And then I end up leaving to be in real estate full time. And I never thought, I'd see Brandon again. He was a great guy, super, good intern. He was running laps around people that were working there as an intern. And he calls me 8 months later and he's like, hey, man, this kind of sucks. Can I come work for you? And I was like, what the fuck? I mean, Indeed's a 6-figure job, right? With 401k, right? Yeah, healthcare, the whole nine. It's really good sales organization. But I'm like, well, I mean, you could come be a cold caller for me for like, $500 a week. He's like, all right, when can we go to Starbucks and talk about it? I was like, I mean, we can go like tomorrow. So he shows up to Starbucks the next day and he's like, I'm ready to go. I was like, all right. So I threw him on the phones taking live RVM leads. That was his right to his cell phone, just blitzing his cell phone. And he didn't complain. He didn't bitch. He just took it like a boss and ended up actually getting a couple of deals from it. And then I got him out of that. And he was an acquisition manager. And then as we brought, more acquisitions in, he just, naturally assumed that leadership. And so he became the department head of acquisitions. Then he was starting to help with dispositions. So he became the COO of the company. He was the COO of the company for 2.5 years. And then this January 1st, he was promoted to CEO. So now he's basically responsible for literally everything in the company. The only thing I still do in the company is I manage my PPC, and that's all I'm responsible for is delivering him good leads.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's pretty much it. So
I didn't know you did that to him, bro. That's dirty. You had him taking live RVM leads. That's wild.
It was brutal. We had it on like 100 ports too, just crushing his phone.
Dude. And do you ever get leads in Fresno, California?
We've got multiple closed deals in Fresno. So
do you really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm in and out. You don't even know I'm there. I'll lock one up, close it. Yeah. So I love California. We've been doing really well in California like the last 6 or 7 months.
Well, Brandon flew out to close like a $100K deal, right?
Yeah, we had a deal in Southern California, and he came out and got a $70,000 price drop, and then flew back to Austin.
That's legit.
Yeah,
that's legit.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said of, even though like we're a virtual company, he flew to go get the fucking job done.
Yeah, if it makes sense,
that's a fat check.
Right. If it makes sense to fly somebody out, I'll fly him out. Like, that one, I knew that there was, really good revenue attached to it. And we just needed to go out and make sure we white gloved it and didn't have any screw ups. And so I said, Brandon, book the ticket. So he flew out on like a Friday, came back on Sunday, had a good time down on Venice Beach, and it turned out to be a good deal. So quick close, no title issues. It was a good one. Yeah. So if it makes sense, I'll fly one of my guys out there if I need to.
That's awesome. What's going on, Luke? So let's talk about Dispo, dude. How have you structured your disposition department? What makes your Dispo department different? And finding buyers nationwide is hard enough, right? Good quality buyers who will pay top dollar. Finding buyers nationwide is a whole nother task in and of itself.
Yeah. So that, was a 3-year process to dial in. And basically we've segmented the dispositions department, same way we've done on acquisitions. We have a senior dispo and a junior dispo. So the junior dispo is responsible for all seller communication and appointment scheduling. And additionally, they're responsible for all the list management, data management, getting email blast out, all the tedious administrative work that goes on. And then the senior dispositions, their primary responsibility is talking to buyers all day and getting assignment contracts. So we segmented the same way, where the entire top of the funnel is junior, and then the bottom of the funnel, when you're talking to buyers, collecting offers and negotiating and locking up assignments, is senior.
How much EMD do you require? Because for you, there aren't as good of personal relationships with your buyers. Let's say for me in my market, I know all my buyers. It's a lot more what's called personal brand based, to where if they burn me, they're burnt forever in our region.
So our standard EMD is $3K, but it depends on the deal and the value. If there's a big, spread attached to it, or if it's a, higher ARV, we've gone up to 25,000 on EMD before. But typically, if it's your, bread and butter, $150,000 house, $3K is what we do for EMD.
And are you still using a lot of realtors for your dispo?
We do, yeah. So we'll reach out to realtors a lot, and because they'll connect you with the cash buyer that might be a doctor or a lawyer that flips a couple properties that'll pay $15K higher than your big flipper that is flipping on 100 properties a year.
Yep.
So
exactly,
it helps out a lot, because there's local realtors know everybody a lot most of the time, especially in these small towns. They know who the movers and shakers are.
And so when a lead comes in, what are you doing with these random country ones or these podunk ones? Do you have a certain all right, I need the population to be X, or I really just can't do anything with it? What does that look like for you?
No, my rule is the town's got to at least have a super Walmart. It's basically that's the joke in the office, but we look at the sales activity that's going on in that little area, because some of these small towns are hot. You would be surprised, where there's no inventory. As soon as something comes up on the market, it's gone. Right. So we're looking at the sales activity. We look at the solds and the pendings, and we look at the we look at the for sales. So we're looking at data to see how hot that market is. If it's a hot market, we'll lock it up, because we know there's activity, and there's just not a lot of inventory. Right now, it's crazy out there. So we've had success in some of the weirdest, smallest little towns, out there.
That is crazy.
We'll discard a lot of them. If it doesn't have sales activity, it's out in the middle of the mountains, 2 hours away from anything, then it's junk. We're just not going to waste our time with it. Yep.
Before you really stepped out, what was one thing you were doing every day that you wish you could have automated in just your business, period?
In terms of automation, I think one thing that really helped us on the dispo side was we have a software that it's basically gives us the cash buyers LLCs and the registered agent, and it gives us their phone number. So you could zoom in on any town in America, and it'll pull up all the LLCs that have flipped properties, and it'll give you the agent, or not the agent, it'll give you the registered agent of the LLCs, first and last name, and their cell phone number. So we've been selling a lot of our deals with this software called Investor Lift, and that was a game changer for us in 2020. So that was a good one.
That's
And
huge.
then, yep, doing the junior senior model, that really that was a big leverage point in the business, buying back time for our closers.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that if I would have done sooner, I would have made, a lot more money. So if you're not doing that, do that. And then another one is like live transfers too. So when a say your junior acquisitions is talking to a lead, right? Never tell them, okay, well, our home buying specialist will give you a call back within 24 hours or whatever. That is a deadly sin in this business. You need to make sure that you have the ability to live transfer to your senior acquisition. When you live transfer, you don't have the you're not going to lose these people. It's such a pain in the ass to get people on the phones in the first place. Live transfer to your senior acquisitions, and say your senior acquisitions locks up the deal. Well, you know what? Live transfer it into Dispo. Should all be one seamless, thing going on. That right there will get you a lot more deals and save you a lot of headaches. Just being able to live transfer to each other.
Right. And you make it so you make it a point to have, when they're signing a contract, be an event is one thing I try and do, right? To where there is no getting out of this is what's going to happen. This is an event, not okay, I'll give you a call back and give you an offer. Do you guys, I know I was talking to you and Brandon about it, how you give them the cool down and then you call them back, right, with the offer. What do you do with that? Just put them on hold? What's that look like?
Yeah, right. Well, the way we do it now is we'll tell them, hey, here's the offer range. If they, basically accept that offer range, rather than giving them a call back, we tell them, hey, well, I'm chatting with my underwriter right now. He's pulling it up as we speak. Give me a minute. I'll have an answer for you, and literally put them on hold while you type up the DocuSign. Right. And then, however long it takes you, just check back in with them and say, hey, looks like, we may be in there. I'm just waiting on my underwriter to get back to me. Stay on hold. Yeah. Hey, Miss Jones, are you in front of your email? If we do get the approval, he's going to send you an email. And if they're in front of their email, then you want them to sign it right there on that first call.
It's hard, especially for PPC. What if they get off the phone, how hard is it to get back on the phone, right?
You're really rolling the dice if you leave it to chance like that. So we don't like to allow things to go longer than they can. Multiple phone calls. Anytime you add an extra chain in a link of business, a link can potentially break. So you want to make sure you're doing it as streamlined and optimized as possible.
I love that. And nice shirt.
Oh, thank you. This is my Persian nightclub owner shirt.
And then that software is called Investor Lift.
Yeah, just tell them I sent you, because it's a small company.
Is this Corey's?
No, Corey. I told Corey about it, and Corey's been crushing it on there too. But the guy that developed it, his name is Robert Wensley, super sharp dude. Went to Harvard, developed a bunch of technology for Facebook. Dude, sharp. So you can go and go to investorlift.com and then tell him, hey, Nick Perry referred me over, and he'll take care of you.
Hell yeah. What's something that you were never really able to do well that you knew you had to start delegating in your business?
I'm a red personality, right? And so when it comes to details and little things within the business, man, I'm a slob, just straight up. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to KPIs and finance, I'm pretty good. I'm very, conservative and smart with my finances, but I don't like having to do a lot of the KPIs like ARVs and underwriting. I haven't underwritten a property in probably 2.5, 3 years. It's just not my A activity.
Wow.
I don't like it. So yeah, I have people that are better than me do it.
That is legit. That's a real business owner. Now that we've talked about the really wholesale stuff, I don't have any other questions. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask them. But now let's talk about how you're transitioning into buying more e-com. I'd love to hear about your trucking company that you're starting. And then what are you in anything else really? Are you buying rentals or no?
Yeah, so I'm in syndications. So I'm invested in like commercial syndications. I'm not really too excited about being like a single family landlord or anything like that.
Right.
So yeah, the syndications have been great for me. You're looking at anywhere from like a 15 to a 30% return on your money, either monthly or quarterly distribution checks. And then you usually have equity stake when that goes sell. So I like the syndication model for passive income as well.
I really don't think real estate's how people get rich. I think you get rich through business and then you put your money in real estate just to give you a return. Right?
Agree 100%. No, that's the whole game. I mean, if you look at anybody that's really wealthy, they made money in their business and then invested it into real estate. Rich dad, poor dad style. So,
right. Like a lot of people have the wrong idea of, oh, well, I'm going to get rich just buying rentals and blah, blah, blah. Like that's not how you're going to really build the wealth. Like you got to make money first, dude. You got to make a bunch of money first with whatever you're doing. But say you start off in wholesale and you go into other things. And then real estate's the vehicle that you use to just keep multiplying your money and at least giving you passive returns.
Exactly. The wholesaling is just like the cash machine that allows me to invest in other income producing assets.
Exactly.
Yep.
So let's talk about your e-commerce stuff, man. What got you into e-commerce? What do you like about it?
The cash flow and the passive. Yeah, it's fairly passive. And then additionally, it runs through credit cards. So like, I don't know if you guys have seen me before, like I've got a literal, like just I got a whole binder full of, credit cards, right? So like it just goes on and on. So I have so many credit cards that it allows me to just rack up a ton of points, and I like the points. But for a $35,000 investment, you're making conservatively $2,000 to $3,000 a month net. You're not going to get that doing single family.
No, not at all, dude.
Right, and it's all online, so it moves quickly. I'm doing the Walmart stores. I'm doing Amazon FBA, and then Amazon drop shipping. I really like the Amazon FBA model right now, and Walmart's also doing good as well. The Amazon drop shipping has kind of got saturated, and Amazon's really cracking down. So I would steer away from that for anybody that's listening. It was good like this time last year, but now it's a little sketchier to get in.
Exactly. So the reason I like FBA, and FBA, at least for the companies I'm talking to, is a lot more expensive, like a 65 to 50 buy-in, but you can actually sell the asset, right? I love it because at the end of the day, your housing inventory, you have an entire business set up. And if you want to sell, you can sell it for multiples. Like, why do you like FBA more than other stuff?
Same reason. So it takes a little bit longer to get going. It's a slower growth than the whole drop shipping thing, but you have a sellable business that you can sell for multiples, right? I mean, after you have an aged FBA store with solid financials, you cash out on that for millions, depending on how your store's doing. Yeah. So that's really attractive to me. And then I just like it because it's safer than the drop shipping model. You don't run the risk of getting suspended and things like that. So it's much more conservative and better long-term play, in my opinion.
Right. So our next one we're gonna get another Walmart store, and then eventually I've heard mixed things. I've heard some dudes say FBA is really hard right now. I don't know why, but FBA after that, because I do love, like I can buy a store for 60, and if things are going right in a couple of years, I can sell that thing for multiple millions.
Right.
right? And like it's a true exit and it's a true business.
Yep. And you can take that money and roll it into a syndication and you're good. I mean, you get, $4 million into a syndication, at a 25% return. That's $1 million a year net passive coming to you. So
and that's pretty wild.
Right.
And then no, he's not the sponsor of the syndication deals. He just invests in the syndication deals. Luke. And then what else do we got, man? Let's talk about plastic.
Okay.
And what do you still use plastic for payroll? Like, is everything on plastic for your company, like to handle all that? When did you stop using it?
I just use it. So when I scaled my business, I was doing probably like, 40, 50K a month. And I wanted to get up to, doing like 300, 400 a month. And so what I did was I just took the credit cards that I had and I was already proficient in this business. I knew my KPIs and I was like, I need to front load a bunch of expenses so I can lever down and scale my business. So when I did that, I basically, front loaded a bunch of marketing onto my credit cards, and then I front loaded a bunch of payroll on my credit cards, going from doing 50K a month to like 300K a month pretty quickly, and then just paid off the cards and kept it rolling. Now all my payroll is done through payroll software, and I'm not leveraging my credit cards like that. I mean, I still do pretty much everything through my credit cards, but I'm not making huge investments like that when I scaled my business.
And I'd heard about plastic from your interview with Fund and Grow. You want to give them a shout out? Because I think what they do is it's amazing what they do.
Yeah, it's a great service. Like if you need to buy something that you can't purchase with a credit card, like say if it's a mortgage payment or you need to wire in money to a title company for a down payment on a house, you can do that through Plastique, PLASTIQ.com. Yeah, and you're going to pay a fee for it, but if you got a deal or something, or you need to pay a contractor, if 2.9% is breaking your deal, you shouldn't be doing that deal anyway. No, that's a good service, but the ones that taught me about that were Fund and Grow. So like all those credit cards that I just showed you, all those credit cards are from Fund and Grow. I've never done a credit card application in my life. So I just told them, hey, here's, basically you sign up with them. You can bring a partner on with you and split the cost. And then they'll go out and they'll apply for all these 0% interest business credit cards on your behalf. So you end up just getting, a bunch of cards in the mail. And I've been doing it since like 2017. I'm getting ready to renew with them again. So I've been doing it for 4 years. I'm about to renew again for my 5th year. I'm like their star student. They've got me more credit, I think, than most people. So it's been good. You just same thing. If you tell them Nick sent you, they'll give you like a $500 off. And then you can split it with your partner.
Hell yeah. And now let's move into like the trucking company. What got you into the trucking company and what does it look like? What are you doing?
Yeah. So in 2020, I was able to kind of get away from a lot of the day-to-day in my business. And I knew I was going to have some tax liability and I needed to defer some of the tax liability. And I wanted an income producing, asset. But like I told you, I'm not really that interested in being a single family landlord. So, same thing, was going down the wormhole on YouTube and came across trucking, same way I did wholesaling. I bought a course on how to do trucking. I joined a mastermind and got my MC and my DOT number, went to Dallas and purchased a truck. And then, kind of the rest is history. Now I have multiple trucks and I lease all my trucks out to a company that's on a 7-year government contract. So I don't have to fuss with any drivers, any maintenance, any fuel, no headaches. I just get a weekly direct deposit into my account for each truck that I have.
What are the returns like on that?
So I'll go to the auction. I'll buy a truck for $25,000, $30,000. I'll put a top of the line warranty on it. Right. So I'm in for 35K. And then once I'll get the insurance on it. And each week I'll get a $1,300 direct deposit. So $5,200 a month The only expenses that I have on it are my insurance, which is $1,300 a month. So my net is $3,900 a month per truck on a $35,000 investment.
That's dope.
It's pretty lit, right? So
Yeah, that's
and
some crazy returns.
and you can write the entire amount off on the truck.
Really?
So yeah, obviously
That's a depreciating asset or whatever.
right. You depreciate the entire amount. So I was just at the auction earlier this week and I was buying trucks.
And what's your goal with that? Like what do you want that to look like? What's going on with that?
It's a medium-term cash flow play for me to where it's not like I'm just going out and, riding around in Lambos and shit right now. I'm taking my money and I'm putting it back into real estate. So, I've got all this, cash flow, monthly cash flow building up, and then I sink it into, safe, multifamily real estate that'll build me generational wealth because I mean, face it, the trucks are a depreciating asset. They don't last forever. They could freaking explode on the highway tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's not like something that is like long term. I'm just gonna, kick my feet up and like rely on truck money. It's like, okay, you're getting great returns from this. Be smart, sacrifice the next couple of years, and just keep putting money into syndications and allow that money to work for you long term.
Well, and there's something to be said about that, right? Because like you see like dudes who wholesale, who are driving Lambos, and we both know like they don't make that much money. Like we know the typical margins a company runs off of. And in all reality, they really can't afford that Lambo. Like we know what their business looks like. And they aren't actually putting that into stuff that's going to keep bringing them cash and keep building.
Yeah, you got to think about your future, man. I mean, like, you really want to be wholesaling houses when you're 50? Hell no. You know what I'm saying? There's a hamster wheel. So you just got to think about your future seriously and, don't do stupid stuff. Put your money in things that are going to last and withstand the test of time and take care of you and your family and future generations.
And I got a couple more questions for you, and then we'll start tying this thing up. When you think about success, who comes to mind and why? Like, what are you modeling your stuff off of?
Yeah, some people that have really like impacted me are well, Sean Terry, he's the GOAT in the wholesale. Yeah, that's who I learned. I came up through the school with Sean Terry. He's still crushing it. To this day, I got a lot of respect for him in the real estate game. I got a lot of respect for a lot of people in the real estate game, but outside of the real estate game, Ed Milet, Tom Bilyeu, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I just like to study success, and those are some of the guys that come top of mind to me. But the list goes on and on. I could sit here and give shout outs for the next hour.
And what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given, as far as, let's go business advice and personal advice?
So business advice is, I remember when I was really struggling, and it took me 11 months to get my first deal and 104 appointments, right? And so after about appointment 75, I was like, man, maybe I'm not cut out for this shit. And my mentor at the time, he told me, he said, most people grossly underestimate the amount of sacrifice you have to make to start a business, much less the real estate business. So that really resonated with me. Like, most people starting off grossly underestimate the amount of sacrifice you have to make to be successful. Not just in wholesaling, in anything, and going to the gym, right? And being successful in your relationships, being successful in business. People think it's easy to be successful, but no, takes a lot of sacrifice. Whatever you think it is in your mind, it's probably 10 times that amount.
Always, right? It took me like, and I wasn't 9 months, but I was a solid 6 months knocking doors every day, like not getting shit out of it. And it was way longer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of drive and just persistence. If you don't have that grit and fortitude, McDonald's is hiring. So, and then personal advice, man, put me on the spot with that. Personal advice, really the best piece of personal advice that I could really sum up and give, because I don't have a direct quote, would be, your small daily disciplines are what's going to lead to a successful life. And when I say small daily disciplines, honoring those promises that you make to yourself. If you say you're going to go to the gym every day, you go to the gym every day. If you say you're going to make your bed, you make your bed every fucking day without fail. If you say you're going to not eat junk when you get home tonight, put the chips down, do not eat it. Honor the promise you make to yourself. Those little disciplines are what's gonna build a successful life.
And then last two, man, what are the bottlenecks you're running into in your business now, right? Because most people aren't seeing the same things that you are. Like, what are your typical bottlenecks in all of your businesses that you're seeing?
People not doing what they say they're going to do when they say they're going to do it. So like, I'm confident in, my team and our own abilities and stuff like that. But, in business, you're going to have vendors you're dealing with. You're going to have, other people, buyers, sellers, other vendors in your business, and people naturally don't follow their word a lot of times, right? So somebody says, hey, we're starting you got a vendor that's starting a marketing campaign for you, a cold calling company, say they're going to start next week, and then they don't start to the following week. Little shit like that, right? It's just dealing with other people. It's humans. This business, like the wholesaling of the houses, is the easy. It's the human beings that are the hard part. Managing people. Yep.
Hands down. And then we got country properties, and I'm guessing that's the hardest part for you about being virtual. It's just people just not doing what they say they're going to do.
Yeah, when they say they're going to do it, the seller says, "Hey, yeah, come by on Tuesday." You got, 3 or 4 guys going out there to see the property, and then the seller's nowhere to be found. You know what I'm saying? Little things like that. So just people, just being people and dealing with managing that.
All right, man. Thank you so much. You got any parting words, bro?
Yeah, I mean, we just released
talk about your freaking. That is going to be the dopest event. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, we just released a online mastermind. So basically, everything that I'm doing, I've been getting so many DMs. I was like, you know what? Well, we're just going to put everything out from A to Z on exactly what we're doing, how we're doing it, from the time we spend $1 to the time we got money back in our bank account, right? So we go through every department, marketing, acquisitions, dispositions, KPIs, finance, hiring, everything. It's all in, a robust online course you can take at your own speed. But then with that, you also become a member of the mastermind too, where we're meeting bi-weekly, to where I'm going to sit down and hold you accountable to make sure that you're actually hitting your goals and, taking action and getting everything out of that course. That's my goal. It's called the 7-figure cartel, and it's called that for a reason. It's because everybody that's in there, is my goal. They will be doing 7 figures quickly. I spent, years kind of in wholesaling purgatory, where, doing a few deals a month and, really just kind of struggling around. And, I feel like I can help a lot of people, take it from maybe doing a handful of deals a month to really, running a top-notch organization. So that's the reason I put it out there. And you check it out. It's 7figurecartel.com, the number 7. But yeah, we're really excited about that right now.
Hell yeah. And I mean, you were hesitant upon doing it. I remember you saying like, no, bro, I don't want to do that. I'm a high level operator. Like, that's not something I'm interested in. So the fact that people get to see this high level of a business is amazing, dude.
Yeah,
and no, if you guys don't know, he's legit.
Yeah, I postponed it for a long time, but Brandon really pushed me to do it. He's like, man, just put it out. And we did it. We've been getting a phenomenal response. Everybody that's gone through the course is like, man, this is great. So I'm getting a lot of good feedback, and I'm excited to jump into the mastermind. Our first mastermind call is on Wednesday. So I'm really looking forward to like pouring into these people and helping them grow their business.
Hell yeah. And so again, it's 7figurecartel.com, right?
Yep, 7figurecartel.com.
Guys, if you are in wholesaling, man, go look at it. And I mean, even if you aren't in wholesaling, my big thing is, right, I pay money to get next to people like Nick so I can ask him questions. Right. Because even if you aren't in real estate. Nick is running a operation with employees, accounts receivable, to where he's actually turned wholesaling that's not a business into a business, right? Like where he's actually stepped out. Where anyone who tells you they have, it's a fucking lie. Like you got to like see their operation and see what they're doing to actually trust it.
Agreed. Yeah. So yeah, if you guys need anything, just reach out to me. I'm on Instagram too, Nick Perry REI. I'm usually pretty good on trying to get back to everybody there. So hit me up.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.